What's up, guys? Cove here. Ready to review my new favorite Tier 10 Heavy, I think. It's gotta be. The Vz.55, the Czech Tier 10 Heavy Tank. Czechoslovakian Tier 10 Heavy Tank, sorry. For the Slovakians out there. What makes this tank so deadly? Well, it's got a choice of two guns. Single shot, a two-shot autoloader. Which actually ends up giving this tank insane flexibility for the majority of the player base. But for most players, I would say that the single shot is probably the better option, especially for newer players who don't really know how to get the most out of a two-shot autoloader or an autoloader in general that has a long reload after getting out a lot of burst damage. I would go with the single shot. And for those of you who are much better players, definitely go for that double shot, because that double shot is rather nice. You're going to get a little bit more consistent gun handling out of the single shot gun, but that burst is really hard to pass up for not drastic drop in DPM and gun handling. So let's take a look at how it compares to some tier 10 tanks. Now, I threw both versions of the single shot and the autoloader. Gonna compare them to the 277, the 5A, because obviously they play very similar to those two tanks. And then also I threw in the Super Conch just because of something I'm gonna go over near the end of the video. So looking at the DPM, obviously you're gonna take a dip with the autoloader, as it is two-shot autoloader with quite a long reload, because this gun is all about the burst damage. But you'll see immediately that the 5A is going to have a distinct advantage, and the Super Conch is going to have a distinct advantage in DPM because they can use gun rammers, whereas this tank cannot. However, it does have the exact same DPM pretty much. Actually, a slightly better DPM than the 277 if the 277 is using a gun rammer. Standard AP, premium APCR. The APCR is penetration is slightly a little low. It is, I believe, 5 millimeters less than the IS-7 would have, which is really hard to pin some things. And I had a second ammo loadout once where I had only 10 APCR rounds, and I was trying to shoot a Type 5 at distance, and that was it was a tier 8 game, so I loaded the cheap loadout and I almost fucked up, but it's okay. Now, looking at the gun handling, it is also very comparable in gun handling, more comparable to the 277 and the Super Conch, as the 5A just doesn't really have outstanding gun handling, and that's really the drawback of the 5A over the other tanks in this comparison. It's really why you don't see a lot of 5As in Clan Wars, is just the gun handling. But with a good crew and all that, I am really trying my hardest to not say that this is a replacement for the 5A and 277 in Clan Wars, but it's really hard to just not think that. The mobility, it's very similar in mobility to the 5A, and less to the 277. Now, that's mendable. The 277 part is mendable, but it's still more like a 5A in that aspect. The armor, oh god, the armor. The armor is actually really good if you know how to use the 8 degrees of gun depression to your advantage, which some people are struggling with so far, it would appear. It's quite low on hit points for a tier 10 heavy tank. It's a little bit more like a medium in that aspect. So just remember that. And the 10% fire chance is so very good. It allows you to drop a fire extinguisher and pick up a drop food, or if you're really trying to get some 277-esque mobility out of it, throw on some gas or something of that kind. Obviously, I would run food just to, especially if you're running the 2-shot, I would definitely run food just to get that that aim time down, so that you can get as accurate of a shot as you can within the 2-second reload. The Brat 2-second reload gun is rather nice. The view range is also a limiting factor of this tank, but it's not that limiting, as it does only have 10 less meters view range than most tier 10 heavy tanks. Actually, I think it has the same view range as the IS-7, so it's really not that limiting, but it can get awkward, especially since this is quite a tall tank and it doesn't really have great camo. So anyway, there's your stat comparison. Time to hop into some battles. I'm going to play 2 or 3 games here, depending on how well the first 2 go. Okay, we got Paris. Tier 10 only Paris. Nice. It's actually one of my the map that I enjoy more in the game right now, which is a little weird because I know a lot of people really dislike this map. I'm gonna go with my other loadout here. Equipment loadout. It's gonna make me a little slower, but I'm gonna be able to aim a lot quicker. As we are in Paris, we don't really have to drive a whole lot at high speed, and the mobility on this thing is fine. Great update. The field modifications in that aspect are so. Well, I did not play a warm-up game, and that might have been a mistake.
Jeden z naszych pasů je poškozen.
Let's see. Our AMX is having massive lag problems.
Zranili naši řidičku. Zastoupíme ji, ale nebude to stát za moc. Nepřítel je zasažen. Průstřel.
Always being a reload if you're using the auto reload or the auto loader. The only reason you want to do this is so your team absolutely knows that, hey, we might want to not be as aggressive or take a few more shots. It just gives them an idea of Well, he's on reload. Da da da. He's on reload. I need to adjust my weapon. Practically the only reason why you need to do that, but we're gonna actually reload here. Because they're getting a lot more aggressive. There's 1,000 damage to a mouse in 2 seconds. Turn the projectiles from the Gingos. Yeah, he's not gonna do that. No, he's not.
Řidička je zraněná. Nemůžeme jet příliš rychle. Nepřítel je zakažen. Průstřel.
Another 1,000 damage to the mouse. Okay, we're good. We got that E4, so they can't really push around this side. Safe. I really would like to. He didn't actually come in shot. That would have been something
Nepřátelský obrněnec zasažen. Zasáhli jsme je, ale schytali jsme to. Všichni ven!
Not really sure where that last shot went, but not a bad game. Not a great game if you're trying to get Mark Facts ones either, though. So, but it's not terrible. With the 2-shot auto loader, I don't really enjoy games where I don't get at least 3,500 damage. That's just a general thing I have going for me here. I will be back when this battle is over. I'll see you back in the garage. And so is a defeat on Paris. Now, I would not ever suggest that you should stay and watch the rest of the game. Unless you're making a YouTube video. But just like that, we are on to the next one. What map am I looking for here? I would really enjoy seeing a Westfield, a Sand River, Empire's Border, Serene Coast is another good one. Serene Coast against the Nines. Nice. Obviously, you should already know where I'm going to play. We're matched up against 277 here, which is quite good. We're going to keep our... We're going to go to our second loadout just for cheaper shells. As there's not really a big, heavy, like super heavy threat here. Yeah, the IS-4 is trolley, and there is a Maushin, but I mean the Maushin does have that massive weak point on top of the tank, and this gun is not inaccurate whatsoever. So, even for an autoloader, they still made this gun super accurate. I don't really know what they were doing. This is okay. I guess they wanted it to make it like the TVP, just in a heavy form, to where it's more bursty initially, and then it kind of has to like fall back and reload. And it's got the great mobility that the TVP has, where it's faster than most of the tanks in the line, but it doesn't have as good as armor. Not in the line, but in the classification of tank. But it doesn't have as much armor, and this 277 is about to make a massive mistake. And there's that aim time. So would we have been better to use the other setup here? The gunline drive? Now, you can use the gunline drive, or you can use a IRM on the second setup. That doesn't really matter that much. With the gunline drive, you're going to get a more accurate shot, more accurate second shot. We can't take advantage of the weak roof on 103 right now. Just trying to keep it back down. Now we can take advantage of the weak roof. Okay. Now, if you don't know this is a very good thing to know about the M103. It has a very, very weak roof. So if you have a 122 or higher caliber gun, just shoot it in the roof. You're above it. How the fuck? You might go over there. I think you'd be able to see that, but it's okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out this one. Any fucks up any chance I have to get good marks in the tank because more damage. Still high roll. T95 does some shots over here. Fighters. Unless you said I almost got jumped by a fucking bitch. Over here and there. Fire both shots safely and still get down. Now what's the plan? We're gonna wait on this 430. It seems like he's gonna do a push. Never mind. Okay. We're chasing damage. Nice. Not something I really enjoy. But it looks like it You can face hug in this tank, guys. It has a pretty strong overhaul, and you can't hit that weak point if you're being face hugged by it. So you can face hug in this tank. Don't be afraid to do it. I'm gonna boost that one up just because, yeah. Why not? It's another decent game in it. So So that means we're probably gonna do yeah, we'll do a third. We'll do a third. Why the heck not? So I'm really glad that I made the decision to use the autoloader on the tier 9. Because it really showed me personally how I would play this tank better. I play more consistently with the 2-shot than I do with the single. So, which is weird. You wouldn't expect that, but I believe the reason why is because of that tank right there. So let's see. Here's the 2 EVR. So we're not gonna actually do what I tried one time. So one thing you can do on a map like this is, in this kind of tank, is to go where the mediums normally go and support them out. Unless there is a shitload of tank destroyers and 2 black tanks and Marty on the other team. So the best chance for us to do a shitload of damage here is to go into the town where we have an overmatch against heavy, or they have an overmatch against heavies. So they're going to send all their heavy tanks. And then just shoot 2 random shots at this 100 LC because he's a dick and tried to spot us all. And can I hit my C key? Thank you. And we're just gonna try and do some damage here. Shouldn't be too difficult. 2684 is coming over here, but so is our E4. I'm just gonna sit here and hope somebody tries to cross like this shit barn might be doing. Nope. Our EBR is not fighting their EBR. Okay. I'm just gonna wait patiently here. He's shooting our track, that's fine. About to lose 1,000 points. Yep. About to lose 700 hit points. And there's your strength of this tank. Having that second shot to where you can track somebody with the first one and still get a second shot to them very quickly. That is why you want this tank. Reload it. We are dominating them down here. That's the second. That's fine. I just want to wiggle this cupola to make sure it's as hard as possible to hit. 8.75 says if he has to die now. Mind. for some reason.
Nemůžeme se hýbat. Vás opraven. Vyrážíme. Jeden z našich pásů je poškozen. Vyskočte. Tohle vozidlo má dost.
That E4 nowhere. How did that E4 shoot me through their 705? Their 705 should have been blocking. What the fuck are you doing, dude? Okay. I'll catch you guys at the end of this battle also. And that one was a base capture. Grill ended up driving all the way around the outside of the map while the 705s, all three of them, were still alive in our base. Our 60 TP was alive, but he had his turret turned away from them permanently for no apparent reason. Well, overall, not a bad game there. 3,000 combined. Not gonna complain about it. Could have done more. Could have done less. But ultimately, that's the Vz.55. Now, some Clan Wars predictions for the next season of Clan Wars. I think for those people who don't have chieftains and they run superconks instead in that slot, I think that the single shot of this tank might be a good option to not really replace a superconk, but play in the place of a superconk in certain areas of certain maps. Kind of like how the CS63 took the place of the STB in some spots. Ultimately, that's just kind of the way I see this tank working out in Clan Wars. It would have to be used as an offensive tank. It can't really be a defensive tank. I mean, it can, but it can't. It's a great pusher heavy, though. So, I mean, obviously, I think it should just flat out replace the 2.77.5A thing. Just a much better tank with either gun. Much more accurate than a 2.77 or a 5A. So, I think it replaces Superconks and 2.77s. I think that this Chieftains and EBRs and 907s, 140s are still all you're going to see. And it's going to become what you see in Clan Wars coming up in the next season. I'm going to say the next season because I don't really think you're going to see a lot of them in advances, just because people are still doing the grind. Now, the grind. How bad is it? Well, I quite enjoyed the tier 7, honestly. It's not a bad tier 7 whatsoever. It's pretty good for a tier 7. It's no T29, but no other tier 7 is a T29 either. So, I mean, I think it's a pretty decent tier 7. It's not a super painful grind whatsoever. And then you get to the tier 8. This tank sucks. I hate this thing. I hated this thing the entire time I played it. So, there's that. It feels like a tier 7 at tier 8. It just feels like the tier 7 at tier 8, and that just doesn't really work out against tier 10 tanks. The tier 9 was my favorite tier 9 of all time. This is a great tank. I don't care what people say about it being the tier 8 premium at tier 9. It's a good tank. And you can't really change my mind on that. This was the smoothest grind I think I've ever had in a tier 9 tech tree tank. And then you get to the Big Daddy, the tier 10. Both guns are highly competitive. I had great games with both. So, it's up to you, ultimately, on the gun. You need to pick it towards your playstyle. But you're not going to go wrong with either one, I don't think. It plays similar playstyle with both. The only thing about the autoloader is you just play around it. So the better players are going to do better with the autoloader, and the worst players are going to do better with the single shot. I think this is a truly good tank for almost anyone in World of Tanks. If you play it correctly. It's a great tank to learn how to use 8 degrees of gun depression. It's a great tank to learn how to side scrape and wiggle your armor to get miracle bounces. It's a great tank to learn about autoloaders. If you've never really played an autoloader well, this is a great tank to pick up an autoloader on. So, I mean, it's just a good tank all around. It's a great tank. Would I say it's broken? No, it's not. The only reason I don't say it's broken is the armor's not that good. It can't go haul down like a chieftain can go haul down. Yeah, it can do 900 damage to you in 2 seconds, but it's not that broken. The mobility is not as good as a 277. The armor's not as good as a 277. The armor's not as good as a chieftain. The mobility is about the same as a chieftain with a turbo. It's just not that broken. I don't get why people are saying, oh, it's the most game-breaking tank they've ever put into the tech tree. No, it's not. You have to play it correctly. I mean, in the right hands, any tank is really broken, isn't it? In the hands of a good player that the tank fits their playstyle, any tank's broken, no? So, I don't think it's broken. It's very good, but I don't think it's broken. And that's my opinion on it. And if you enjoyed, a like helps, comments help, subscribing helps. I'm going to try and start doing more tank reviews, I guess. And I'm not really sure if I really want to do this in-depth of one on a non-new tank. So, I guess let me know about that. And, yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Catch me on Twitch today, I believe, if you are watching this the day that it is released. And, yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.